Hello, everyone, once again. So we are ready with our first talk, and I'd like to welcome Freek Herten. Thanks a lot,
Hey,
Freek, for agreeing to speak at Laravel Nagpur. We are really honored with your presence. Thank you. It's
thanks.
all yours now. It's all
I'm
yours.
on. Thanks, Abbas. Yeah, I'm also honored to be invited, and I'm happy to give a talk here on something that I'm really passionate about. So let's go. I think I'll share my screen immediately, or no, I'll just do like a little intro first. So this talk is criminally underprepared. So I'm just going to improvise a little bit because I feel that I'm enthusiastic enough about Rey to just tell you things about it as they come to me. So we're going to talk a little bit about debugging. And I feel that in the PHP world, there are two main ways of debugging. On the one hand, you have Xcode or Xdebug, which is seen as like the professional tool for debugging. And sure enough, Xdebug surely has its place if you have like really complicated problems. But there are some problems with Xdebug itself. It can be hard to install for the first time. It can be a little bit hard to configure, and it can make your code a lot slower. And then on the other hand, or wait, I see a comment here by Honor. Leave Derek alone. I want to emphasize that I'm not against Xdebug per se. I think it's a wonderful tool, and Derek did a wonderful job at it. But it can just be a little bit cumbersome to just start using it first. Abbas.
Freek, sorry to interrupt. Do you intend to share your screen? Because it has not been shared yet.
I didn't intend it yet. It's just an intro without the screen yet.
Okay.
No problem. I should also say if there are any questions during the talk, the chat is open here, so I can answer any questions while I'm talking. You don't have to wait until the end per se. So that's Xdebug, great, but a little bit cumbersome. And on the other hand, you have I think what everybody is doing, and what certainly I am doing as well, and that is just dump and die debugging, where you just put like dump statements in your code or die statements in your code, and you see your output in either your console or in the web browser. So I thought to make you feel the problems that can arise by that kind of debugging, I thought let's just debug something together. So now I'm going to share my screen. So sharing screen, this one, doing a little bit of window management here. This is on the side. I hope you can all see the screen now. If not, just scream at me in the is that really isn't important, the code around it. But let's pretend there is an error here. And if I remember correctly, I have put an error here somewhere. I think in the tests, the action can approve a link. Okay, let's execute the test. Sorry, Nuno, it's still a PHP unit test, not a PES test. Maybe I'll convert that test in the future. And you see that if everything is good, that test is failing, and you might start doing stuff like this. You go to the code that is being executed. You set like a var dump here, like in the execute method, like that. Then maybe you execute the test again, and you see, are we going through here? Here it is in the execute method. Then maybe here we do like an echo or something. I am here. I guess everybody has done some things like that. And we go to another class here. let me reformat this a little bit. Echo in the constructor, some things like that. And eventually, maybe you'll find the error, but you debug and you add things and you say, okay, I'm here in the constructor, but not in the I am here, so I must have flown here. And you scroll a little bit up and down, and you don't know anymore, is this from my last test or is this from this test? And if you, maybe I should show that as well. If you, or I can already say it like this, no need to spend time on it. If you want to remove them all, yeah, probably you will forget where you put those things. If you just put like echoes and var dumps in one file, okay. But if you do it in like separate files, yeah, then you tend to forget it where you put them. And I guess everybody has done this as well, that if you forget to remove one of those things and you push it to production, yeah, then you're echoing out in production, and you really don't want to have that. And before I show you my solution, let's also discuss like the same problem in the browser. So let's go to freek.dev.test. I have here my tests. Environment, or my test environment for my blog. I'm going to see the database with some stuff. I should see some things here now. Yeah. And imagine you want to debug this a little bit. This is the controller that renders that page. And you want to maybe see which links there are there. Then you can just var dump all the links. And you get stuff like this, or if you're lucky, a little bit formatted, but you're nothing with that really. And you could do stuff like in the view. Let me click on here, and then here var dump of link. Just see what it is. Let's take a look. And yeah, you get some stuff here, but here it's still okay-ish. But if you have like a lot of like these dump statements, it will break your layout and you can't see anything really. So that's a little bit bothersome to do it this way. And yeah, I've gone about it here a little bit for like smallish problems for sure, but it breaks down very, very easily. And to solve that problem, to make like var dump debugging better, I've created a little tool for that. And that tool, that is called Rey. Let me go to the promotional website of that. I should also say that this really isn't like a sales talk. We also will dive into the bowels of Rey after I've demonstrated it. So what is Rey? It is, in a sense, it's an application where you can send your debugging information to, so you can debug faster because you can interpret the debugged information much better. Okay, let's maybe see, before we do that debugging scenario again, let's take a look at Rey itself and some basic examples. So I have Rey already running here. It's a desktop application. And here it is. This is what you see when it is opened. And let's maybe, before I explain all of the UI, let's maybe send some stuff to Rey so you know how to do that. So I've prepared a little demo application, Rey demo app. And these commands are basically all examples of things that you can do to send to Rey. So let me open up the demo command and just clear this out. And how you send debugging information to Rey is with a little function called Rey. Hey, let's send hey to Rey, and I'm going to execute this command. And I'm now using Rey in the simple command here, but you should imagine that you're using the Rey function, instead of var dump and everywhere where you're debugging. So let's execute this command. So I'll demo. I should explain that. I've aliased the letter A to PHP Artisan so that I don't have to type PHP Artisan the whole time. So this is a little trick that you might like as well. So I can do a demo, and you can see here that this information gets logged in Rey. And beneath it, you see it where it got logged. So if you are like in another file, let me go to maybe somewhere entirely else in a controller, and you want to know where this was logged, just click it, and you get back to where it was logged. So that's already a big plus compared to like var dump statements. Now this hey function, it can basically take every argument that you want. So if you want to send an array to there, let me type an array here. I'm going to put my mic a little bit up. A is 1, B is 2. Let's maybe have like a subarray maybe as well, where element C is an array. I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. And here maybe D is 3, something like that. Let's execute that. You can see that you have like a beautiful rendered version of that array where things are collapsible. You can also send objects of any kind to it. So let me do that. Let me just send like the entire application object to Rey to see that that is working. And you can see that we format that as well. So this is Illuminate Foundation application. And here you can just open things to get a little bit more detail. Now, I was moving this window a little bit around, but let me explain that there are also some hotkeys here. So if I want to hide and show Rey from anywhere, there is a hotkey for that. So I'm here in PHP Storm, but using hotkeys, I can just then I have just like this in the middle, and I don't have to hunt this window again. Now, if you want to hide this for real, or you don't want to have it on top, you can just toggle this off, and then it will be on in the background. So I've toggled it off here. Okay, what should I say next? Yeah, you've seen me when I was debugging that command in my website. I was continuously I was executing the command multiple times, because if you're debugging, you probably will need a few iterations to see where things are going wrong. And in my output, it got a little bit confusing, like, is this now the output of my attempt or for a previous attempt? Now, what you can do is manually clear the window here. There is like a little plus sign here, and now it's cleared. And you can go back to see the previous output. But you can also do that programmatically. So let me show you that. So if I want to clear the screen, or you know what? I'm going to execute this demo first. So there are things on the screen. And how you can clear the screen, it's very simple. You just do new screen, Rey, hey, and you basically have like a clean slate where you can work on. Now let me put the date in here now. And you can see that we have a new screen for each time that we execute the command. If I execute this again, you see that updates. You can also see here that we display certain objects already a little bit formatted. So Rey knows that this is a Carbon instance. And we probably don't need to know all the internals of a Carbon object. No, we just want to have like the format date. We want to see the time zone and maybe the Unix timestamp. So there is also a beautiful formatter at work there as well. Now let me show you another example of that. And that is, for instance, models. If you send models to Rey, we will only display the attributes and the relations by default. So if you have ever var dumped like a model, you see all of the internals, and probably you want only to see the attributes. So let's try that now. I'm going to stop the demo here because there are lots of things going on here. So let me see. Yeah, I guess this part of the code should work. So let's try it. Oh, oops. So let's do a model. Yeah, you can see the model here. This is how a model is displayed in Rey. You just see the attributes and you see the relations and the attributes of those relations as well. And you might think, yeah, is this all worth it? But I can assure you that if you're debugging and you get a little bit frustrated, then if you see like unstyled debugging output, yeah, it tends to get a little bit on my nerves a little bit. And if it's beautiful, it helps me really to debug faster. Let me show you some other tricks. Because we're barely scratching the surface because we can do a lot more here. But let me show you something basic first. Let's do that in the demo command. So all the things that you log, you can colorize them as well. So if you do things like var dump, I am here, then it's probably something that you really want to see and that you want to stand out a little bit. And in Rey, you can do that by colorizing some outputs. So here you can say, I am blue. And how you colorize things is just stack on like the color that you like, and you get it there. I am red, like that. Let's execute the demo here. And you see I am blue, I am red here, and you see that it has the background. And these little things, those are the filters. So if I only want to see the red things, I can see only the red things. If I only see the blue things, I guess, then I only see the blue things. That's how that works. Okay, what's the next thing that I want to show? Maybe the queries. The queries is also a very nice one, I think. If you want to show some queries, you can do that. Let me fetch this and just go back to the demo command. And let's create a query. So we're just going to try to attempt to get the first user here. And yeah, by default, this doesn't do anything. But if I want to see like all the queries, I can do Rey, show me the queries. And you can see that we can show you a lot of other things as well. But I think queries is the neatest one to show. So if I do demo now, then you see that the query is being displayed here in a nice way. And you can even just copy the SQL here. Let me copy this, paste it here, and now you have like the query that you can run in your favorite database application. And what the neat thing of this is that even for queries, we display where they are being executed. So even though there isn't like a Rey function on line 19, Rey knows, hey, this query was executed on that line. So this is great to see where queries were executed. You can even say like, hey, I want to make all the queries blue. So, and other things won't, of course, be blue. Other thing here. So if you're debugging and you need to have the queries and you have like a lot of debugging output and you only want to see the queries, you can just give it the color, and boom, now you have only the queries and not the rest. So that's how that works. I'll say boom one more time for Roman. Okay, another cool one maybe, and that is pause. So we can actually pause your code. And this is quite amazing because we can do that without using any extension. So why is pausing? Why could that be handy? Imagine that you're like debugging a loop where certain things are happening in your database, where you alter things in your database. Then you could in that loop pause your code and see row by row what is happening to your database. So it's mainly very handy for like testing side effects. So yeah, let's see how that looks like. Oh, and I see that there's a thing happening here that I haven't explained yet. If you give like a string to new screen, we will use that as a title of the screen. You'll see that in a bit, or you'll see that now, I guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the code, and you're not going to see this in Rey. And you'll see that my terminal keeps on running, and you don't see that ended word. So it's paused for real. So let's do pause. And now the code is paused. Now it hangs here, and if there were like side effects, if you're writing to a file or something, you can now inspect the file and see what has written to it from this point. And in Rey itself, you can say, yeah, I want to continue or I want to stop. So let's try that. So if we continue, then you see continue. Now we have after the pause and my script has ended. But we also could have say, hey, just stop the execution. We can do that too. And then an exception will be thrown. And this neatly ties in with the next thing that I want to show you. And probably I should filter out this exception because you're not really interested in this exception, I guess. So if you log an exception to Rey, or if an exception happens in your application, then we will have like a neat way to render that. So this is the class of the exception, the message. You can open up the other frames as well, so you know where this exception happened. If you want like a coworker helping you, you can even share that exception. And if I click that public share link here, then you can see that exception that I've just made on Flare. And you can send that to colleagues to help you with that. Let me put this link in the chat so you can see the shared exception. So that are exceptions. Let's see another neat thing that we can do. Maybe mails. And for mails, yeah, maybe, did I have a mail prepared here? Yeah, I have a mail prepared here. So if you have a mailable and you send that mailable to Rey, let's take a look at what happens. And let me close this depressing exception screen and clear this here out as well. So here we are going to give a new mailable to Rey's mailable function. And let's execute mail. And you can see that that mail is being rendered. This is, of course, very handy to quickly show you some mails. But there's a very nice side effect as well. I think some of you might not know that that Laravel actually writes all the mails that are being sent in the log file of Laravel by default. So there is like a log driver. If you have a new Laravel application, you will use the log driver. And Rey picks up on each mail that is written in the log driver as well. Now, let me show you why that can be handy to display that in Rey. I'm going to open up another project where I'm working on, I guess it's HTTP. Wait, I'm going to log out here. I need to be in a logout state. And imagine that you're here in a form where a user can register. And, oh, sorry. And you expect that all users of the system need to verify their mail by clicking on a link. Now, in production, that's all nice, but you also want to test that link in test mode while you're working on it. And here you can easily do that. So here I'm going to just add my name, Freek, I guess, plus test. I'm going to put a random number here because I've already put a lot of tests into this application. I'm going to do password. Let's register. And boom, you see here the mail that the Laravel application sent. And here in the application, it says verify your mail. Now in Rey, I can just click the link. And now I'm further here in the registration. So I can just complete this, and then I'm in. So there's like a very easy way to handle local mails. Let's see what else we get. I'm going to check for time. I guess I'm already in for like 20-25 minutes. So I'm going to show a couple of things, or maybe one thing more. And then I'm going to dive into the previous example, and then we'll see if we have time to still source dive Rey a little bit itself. Let's see. Yeah, I got a lot of things here. I don't know if there's something that other people would like to see still as a demo. I'm going to maybe do Color. Color was a fun one. So when you're debugging stuff, you likely also want to know where certain pieces of code are being called from. So you know, like, how did I get here, you know? And you can do that with Color. If you execute Color, Rey Color, then you see that, hey, this function handle was called from this method. And there's also like a similar command called Rey trace. And then you see like the full trace of how we got here. So this can also be very handy with debugging. And of course, if you click one of those links, then you immediately go to that place. Let's go back to Color. Maybe another quick one, measure. So this is handy for like measuring or do like a quick profiling of your code, like how much time was in between these calls, how much memory was used in between these calls. So you can do that with Rey, with just Rey measure. And then we start measuring time and memory. And if you call Rey measure again, then we display the time between this call and this call. So, and of course it will be 1 second. And if you call it then again, then we will show like the total time since the first measure occurred, and also since the last measure occurred. So let's execute that one. Let's measure the time, measure, start measuring performance. Here we're at 1 second. And here you can see that the total time here was 3 seconds. That's that sleep 2 and 1 together, and time since last call was 2. So this is handy for like quick profiling of your code. And you probably think that, or might think that I've designed this whole application, but that's not the case. I have a whole team behind me that helps me with it. And this, the looks of this application were designed by my colleague Wilm, and I really love the amount of detail that he took into it. If you take a look at that measure label, then you can see we have those dotted lines here below, meaning we start measuring performance. And here we have the dotted lines on top, meaning like this is not the first measure call, that means. And there are other nice details here as well. If you are colorblind, you probably can't use these here on top. But we have a colorblind mode. So if I'm here in the preferences of Rey, and if I enable colorblind mode, like that, then you can see that we put in like the names of the colors here, and we also put the names of the colors here. So even people that don't see colors quite well can use Rey. I'm going to disable this option for now because I can see colors quite good. Also for people that like the new items on the top of the screen, we have a setting for that as well. Okay, I think I've talked enough about the features. And you can see I have a whole lot of commands here. I've only scratched the surface here. So if you want to know more about it, just go to the documentation of Rey, where you can find a few more examples. The documentation of Rey is at spatie.be docs-rey. Quite straightforward, I'd say. So here we have the introduction, and if you want to see everything that can be used in PHP, it's on this page. Everything that can be used in Laravel is here, and you can see that we support a few other things as well. Now let's go back to the application that I was debugging, my own blog here. And yeah, maybe see here what we did before. We had here that var dump of a link to see the contents of that link. And let me open it up here in the browser again as well. Oh, this is the live site. Freek.dev.test. Community. So yeah, here you have that debugging output breaking my page a little bit. With Rey, you can do it like this. You can just do Rey, just send that to Rey. I use my hotkey to let it come to the foreground. And if I refresh here, then you see, yeah, there are quite some links there. But you can see that we got the output here, and it even detected that this is a model, so we only see the attributes. So this is much nicer than what we had before for debugging in the browser. Let me go to the test that I was debugging. So let me hide this one again. Yeah, this is the test. I added some things here, I guess. So I think what I can do here now is instead of var dump, I can do Rey. In link approved mail, I can also do Rey. And did I do a third one? I am here. I can do that as well. Rey. Or I'm just going to remove this one because you already get the point, I guess, with two of them. And now if I debug, let me copy over this test here. I can see the output here, and I also can just go to where things are logged if I want to remove them. Now, what I also tend to do is in a test to do like new screen. So every time that I execute the test, I get like a fresh screen with fresh output. And in projects, I tend to take it even further. What I really like to do is in the base test case, in the setup method, and there isn't a setup method here yet, so I'm going to add it. So this is being executed before every test. I'm going to just get a new screen from Rey here, and I'm going to put like the name of the test in there as well. So if I debug now, proof link action, it's this one. setup method here as well. That should be public. So sorry for the little confusion, but now by having this in the general setup method, if I execute the test now, I should get like output, and I still have like a wrong one here. I'm going to bug this really fast. Protected function setup. I think this is a little bit of legacy going on, I guess. I'm going to make them all public really quick. Let's try it again. Yeah, now we're there. So now when we execute a test, we get the name of the test as a title, and we can just see our debugging things here. So if I want to add something else here, hey, this is new. Now, if I do this, then I get these 3 items. If I'm done with debugging, I can just go click, remove it, in the other file even, remove it, and then I'm done. And that's basically like the Abbas, how are we on time? Because I want to source dive the package a little bit, but I think my time is already up. So maybe you should leave it at this.
We can have 5 minutes Freek if you want.
Yeah? Okay, then I'll explain how it works.
Yeah.
And I'll keep it at 5 minutes. Thanks. Okay, so how does Rey work under the hood? Let's do a little bit of a crash course here. So the Rey app itself is an Electron application, and it has an HTTP server running inside of it. So you can actually send HTTP requests to it. Now, to use Rey into your application, you must install a package into it. And that package is called Rey. Let's go to the source code of Rey itself. So this is the package that is installed. If you're using a Laravel application, you will probably need Laravel Rey application, but it's built upon this one. So what happens when you send something to Rey? Well, let's first take a look at the place where the Rey function is being defined, and that is in this this helpers file. So this is the function Rey that you call, and you can see here, I'm not going to explain it all, but if we see that there are like specialized versions of Rey installed, then we are going to do something with those specialized versions. But in most cases, in framework agnostic projects, you're just going to fall through it, and you're just going to use the Rey class. And the Rey class, that's like the Rey object that's inside of this package. So that's this class. So then you have an instance of Rey. Now, and on Rey, you can call certain commands. Yeah, we've seen new screen here, but there are lots of others like color. We also have size, but let's do a very simple one. If you just do, want to debug Rey and then something else, what method gets executed then? Then we are executing the send method. And you can see here that it takes just every argument that you give to it. What we are going to do then is we are going to create a payload for those arguments. And there are actually quite a lot of payloads here. And this is basically like a format that the Rey application can understand. Let's maybe open up one of those payloads. Which one I'm going to take? Maybe just a log payload, because it's a simple one. So that payload, it is a very simple object, like you see here. And the most two important bits is like the type and the content. And you saw that in Rey that there are certain different things that can be displayed, like a model or a carbon object or something like that. And for carbon, this will be carbon. Oh yeah, I have the carbon payload here, so I can show you that. So for carbon, the type is carbon, and then the application knows like, hey, I should display the carbon type. And here you can see the data that is needed for that type. So the package is like the brains of how to convert certain things that should be displayed there. So let's maybe go to that carbon function. So if we have like a carbon payload, what are we going to do What are we going to do? Well, we are going to send that payload to Rey. And how are we going to do that? We are going to do that with the send request method. We are going to add some extra information to it, and that extra information that are those the locations of these links here. And then we are going to use a certain client a client class to send the request. Now that client class, this is the default implementation. It can be overridden by the packages for the other frameworks, but most likely it's this client. And this client, how does it send things to Rey? Well, it's very easy. I didn't want to have it any dependency on Guzzle or anything like that. So we're using hardcore curls to send that payload to there. That's how it works. Let me show you one more thing from the Laravel specific package, and then we're done. So we're going to Laravel Rey. So in Laravel Rey, you also have a Rey class. But if we scroll a little on top, then you see that it extends the base version of Rey, what you just saw. And if you want to log something like queries, then I've shown you that, that you need to call a method called show queries. And here we are going to use a watcher class to start watching all the queries. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go in too much detail of this query watcher. But what happens here is that if the query watcher is enabled, we will enable the query log of Laravel, meaning that it will send out an event for each query that's fired. And in the query watcher itself, we also have like a listen method that listens for when Laravel fires off these executed queries. And here we are going to create a certain payload for that query. And you can see it's the type executed query, and we report SQL bindings and some other things. And here it's just the same. We are going to use that send request method that I've shown you. And behind the scenes, it will make like a curl HTTP call to this, and the query is being displayed. Now, this only scratches the surface a little bit. I've gone about it a little bit fast in the interest of time, but I hope that you saw like the main gist of it. That is really just HTTP calls that are being made on the formatted version of the things that you send to Rey. So with that being said, I think I'm at the end of my talk. If you want to try out Rey, just go to myrey.app, and there's like a free trial that you can use to debug your applications. And that is, I guess, all that I have for you today. I hope that you like it. If you have any more questions about it, let me know in the chat. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Freek.
There you go. My pleasure. Sorry for going over time a little bit.
No problems at all. Thank you for showing us around in Rey, and especially thank you for explaining us the internals of Rey. That was really informative.
Cool.
Okay, I can see a few questions. So if you can move on to questions section on the right-hand side.
Yeah. Is there any way we can show all the variables currently present in scope? Well, this is a very good question, and I've wondered this myself, and it's kind of hard to do. I think you can do it if you have like a PHP extension, because you really need to reach out to a place in the memory of PHP where the code is not currently at. So I think you can do it if you have like Xdebug installed, because it can do like anything. But we're researching how we can do it in a little bit of a lighter way. But I don't think you can do it in user-land code. I think it's impossible to do in PHP as a user itself. You need to write an extension. I'm not promising that we'll have one, but yeah, that question has come to mind as well. So that's that question. Is there any way to integrate Rey with another PHP framework? Well, I think the framework agnostic version of Rey can already help a lot. So the things like pausing and just sending anything you want to Rey and measuring memory and time, that's in the framework agnostic version. So you can already do that. For a couple of other frameworks, I've already created a separate package. We have a package for WordPress, and we are building a package for Symfony as well. We also have one for Craft CMS, and we're also open for people that know these other frameworks very well to create a Rey implementation. I'm also creating Rey for Ruby and for Rails, and I'm getting help from somebody from that community as well. And then the last question, is Rey as a light version for people who want to check it out? Well, yeah, there is a free demo, and it can basically do anything, but there is a limit on how many things you can send to it. So in that demo, you can use anything you want. Oh, I've forgot to mention the best feature that most of the people love. And that is dark mode. It also has a dark mode. So if you prefer dark mode, Rey can be black as the night if you want that. And with that, every question is answered, I think.
Yeah, so if anyone has any more questions, now is the time. We'll just give you 1 more minute.
Yeah, and otherwise you can still ask me in the chat. While we wait for questions popping in, I'll also give like a quick preview on the thing that we're working on now for Rey. I can show it to you because it's not really ready for showing you the design of it yet. But we're working on remote connections for Rey, so that if you have like Rey calls in your production code, that it can send those things via an SSH connection to the Rey app. So you can basically see information from your live application in Rey. And I think this can be very handy when you have like a little error on the production side and you don't know what it is. Well, just add a couple of Rey calls. The output won't be displayed in the browser, but we'll use like an SSH connection to send all the information to your Rey app. And yeah, I think this can help a lot, because I think everybody has already seen some small little bug on the production side, but I can't really reproduce it. Well, I hope that with Rey you can catch that bug.
Okay, thanks. One more question popped in, Freek.
Could we use Rey? Oh, there are a couple of things. Will it work in the VS Code IDE? Yes, it will. There's really no PHP Storm specific things there. Could we use Rey in Laravel 6? Laravel 6, it's already a long time ago for me. I think the Laravel specific function or package, I think it starts at Laravel 7, I think. And the framework agnostic one, you'll need PHP 7.3 to get started with it. Here's also a question. Are you planning to add a Debian package for Linux users? Well, we already have a Linux version that works on yeah, most Linux distributions. So if you want like another support for another distribution, let me know on the issue tracker of Rey. I should also say that there is there's also a Windows version available. So it works on Mac, Windows, and Linux. I'll do one more question, Abbas, and then I
think we need to stop now.
Yeah, okay, it's good. Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone, and I'll now play one short video of 2 years of Laravel Nagpur's history, and then we'll be back. We'll be ending the session after that, and then we'll be back in a moment. Please, everyone, stick around. After this, we have Nuno's talk, and then after that, we have some giveaways from Spati. So just stick around. Thank you, everyone.
After running every test, you are ensured that everything is good. Let's go to the left. Okay. Let's go. Next is the function. How it is the function? As I a little bit short and as informative as it can be. So thank you again for having me. Let me share the screen with you. So can you see the screen now?